Om Shanti. Good morning, Diamond Morning. Baba's Murli. Today is the 6th of July, 2022. In the essence, Baba says, sweet children, by belonging to the Father, you claim a right to liberation and life in a second without spending a shell. As soon as you have faith, you receive the inheritance. Question. What is the duty of the sensible children with shrewd intellect? Answer. To go on the true pilgrimage and to inspire others to go on the true pilgrimage is the duty of children with shrewd intellects. The true pilgrimage is Manmanabha. By going on this pilgrimage, you will be saved from all types of wandering. Just as the Father is benevolent, so children with shrewd intellects would be as benevolent as the Father. Question. What does the Father tell you? Something that you continue to whisper in everyone's ear? Answer. Baba says, children, remember me. Don't remember any bodily beings. If you remember bodily beings, you become body conscious. Therefore, always consider all bodily beings to be already dead, and that you have to remember the Father. Continue to whisper this in everyone's ear. And the song of Baba's Murli, I have come, having awakened my fortune. Om Shanti. Is there any expense involved in creating children's fortune? When parents have a child, does it cost anything for the child to receive an inheritance? As soon as he is born, he receives the inheritance of his father's property. They print in the newspaper, such and such an heir is born. Did it cost the child anything? No. He took birth, and it didn't cost him anything. A father may be very wealthy, but not have any children, so he would adopt a child. Did it cost the child anything? Nothing at all. Here too, liberation and life in a second is remembered. Although people of the world don't know the meaning of liberation in life, you know that the deities were liberated in life and that they were the masters of the world. Only Bharat, Baba says, only in Bharat is there liberation in life. The Father asks you, does it cost you anything to belong to the Father? Baba, I belong to you. That's all. It is also remembered that Janak received liberation in life in a second. He simply received recognition of the Father. The Father is showing you methods for this. Tell me, what is your relationship with the Palokik Supreme Father, the Supreme Soul? When you say the Supreme Father, He is the Father. Baba asks, does it cost you anything to belong to me? Nothing at all. Simply belong to me. There is no expense in this at all. It is said liberation in life in a second. The question of expense doesn't arise. When the child came, did it cost him? When the child came, what did it cost him? You belong to the Father. What did it cost you? Your intellect simply had the faith. Baba, I am yours. You understand that you receive the sovereignty of heaven from the Father. The Father is the creator of heaven. The inheritance you receive is the sovereignty of heaven. It is a matter of having faith. You don't even spend a penny. Only by having remembrance will you become like a diamond. We write, you can claim liberation in life without spending as much as a shell. You will receive the sovereignty. You have stumbled around so much. People stumble along a great deal on pilgrimages on the path of devotion. There are even guides and religious people there to make them stumble around. They also spend a lot of money, and yet they don't receive anything. The Father explains a great deal, but if it is not in their fortune, it doesn't sit in their intellects. A method should be invented to save everyone from stumbling. Simply to hear Baba's Murli and then relate it to others is not a big thing. What should you tell others, and what should you do? People go on pilgrimages by train. What method should you devise? As yet, no one has put into practice the method that Baba has shown you. You should lovingly ask someone, and the question, what is your relationship with the purifier, the ocean of knowledge? Until now, you haven't written to Baba telling him, Baba, I am now engaged in this business. Have you gone and asked so and so what he thinks? You don't give news to Baba at all. You can claim liberation in life in a second from Baba, just as Janak did, if you solve this riddle. Baba is telling you something first class. Have small plastic cards printed. Have good postcards that you can send everywhere. They only stumble around on pilgrimages. You can even write, if you want to become free from stumbling around for birth after birth, then solve this riddle. By solving it, you can receive liberation in life in a second. Baba tells you the words. An intelligent child should write something very well and then have it printed and sent to others. Work can be done quickly in bigger towns. Have very beautiful plastic cards which may or may not have the stamp of the Trimurti on them. Baba gives you very good tactics. Janak received liberation in life in a second. They simply continue to sing this. But no one knows it, although it is mentioned in the Ashtavarka Gita. No one understands it. No one can understand it. The Ashtavarka Gita is one in which the dialogue is between Ashtavarka and Janak, whereas the Srimad Bhagavad Gita is a dialogue between Shri Krishna and his friend Arjuna. So Baba is referring to this now. They're just all told stories. You are sitting here to explain this practically. No one else can understand it. Only the one God the Father is the sensible one. Ravan has made everyone non-sensible. Pure ones are called sensible and impure ones are called non-sensible. No one knows this unlimited aspect. This is absolutely simple. Let them simply say, yes, he truly is our Father. A child should receive the inheritance from his father without spending anything. As soon as a child is born, he receives an inheritance. Children receive an inheritance of bondage and life from physical fathers. This is the only father who is called the purifier. Here, it is the devilish kingdom of Ravan. That one is God the Father. They speak of heavenly God the Father. So you should receive the inheritance of heaven from him. The new world is called heaven. The great destruction of the old world is just ahead of you. The longer it is delayed, the more people will continue to have faith in destruction. This is already entering the hearts of people. They do understand that war can flare up even tomorrow. They also understand that that is just ahead. You say that you are the Prajapita Brahma Kumaras and Kumaris. You are the children of Shiv Baba, and so you have a right to the inheritance. Simply remember the Father and your inheritance. Also print these words on the card. And what words we should print on the card? Solve this one riddle, and you can receive liberation in life in a second without spending as much as a shell. You simply have to remember the Father and the inheritance. That's all. You will become the master, a master of heaven. The status in heaven is also number-wise. You will automatically understand with knowledge what you have to do. There is no question of money, etc. here. Baba always says to the children, it is better to die than to ask for anything. When you are to receive your inheritance from the Father, why would you ask for anything? Both a mother and father want a son so that he would be their heir. You are now Baba's children. Everyone calls him the Father. The Father speaks to souls. You are my sons. So why don't you remember me and the inheritance? I am speaking to you, sons, souls, through the body of Brahma. You are also the children of Brahma. How else would you be able to go to Brahma's home? Brahma Kumaras and Kumaris receive their grandfather's inheritance. And Shiv Baba is the grandfather here. Brahma is not the creator of heaven. Your Guru is not Brahma. There is only one Satguru. This Brahma also studies with him. It isn't that when he departs after learning everything, you will sit on the gaddi. No, it is not like that here. There is only the one Satguru. We all study with him and attain salvation. You children can do a lot of service. You have many chances. You can even take these cards to the temples and explain to the people there. Someone should show this by doing it. The methods that Baba is showing you are very easy. Baba continues to check everything. He wants to hear the news that 10 to 20 people on a train were asked this question. When you ask one person a question, 10 others will hear it. It is not a big thing to sit at home and explain to someone. The Father says, simply remember the Father and the inheritance. This doesn't stay in the intellects of little children. It stays in their intellects when they grow a little older. Your organs are bigger. Liberation in life is received in a second. You know that Baba is giving you the inheritance of heaven. Poor, helpless people are stumbling around outside a great deal. Poor, helpless people are stumbling around outside a great deal. How can we liberate them? Many tactics are needed for this. So many daughters write from their homes saying, Baba, I belong to you. They have never even seen or met him. They have never even seen Baba or met him. They write, Baba, I belong to you. I will definitely claim the inheritance from you. They even experience being beaten. Such daughters can go ahead of many others. You are not beaten, and yet you don't even do service. You even ignore what Baba says. You can print cards in any language. The intellects of those who actually do something should also work on this. Baba is not giving you a lot of work to do. The governments in that world have such big committees set up for destruction. You have so many good methods to claim an imperishable status. They spend a lot of money on the path of devotion, whereas look what you are doing. You have no expense at all. There is a lot of expense on the path of devotion. You receive liberation in life in a second. Sensible children should print these cards and show Baba. We are claiming our inheritance from Baba so easily. People become so unhappy. Some people even return home halfway through a pilgrimage. Poor people wander around a great deal. You feel sorry for those poor helpless people. You are the children of God the Father, and so you should come to heaven. Why are you here in hell? There has to be someone who can tell them this. You can explain to anyone. In order to go to Allah's home, remember Allah. You came from there. Now remember the Father, none but one. Explain this to the nuns. You have to remember God. Even Christ remembered him. For instance, if Brahma Baba goes away, you still have to remember Shiv Baba. The body will, of course, be shed. You have to remember the one. Baba says, you have to remember that one. Shiv Baba says, simply remember me. When he says you have to remember that one, meaning Shiv Baba. Simply, Shiv Baba says, simply remember me. You mustn't remember any bodily beings. Become soul conscious. All bodily beings are already dead. The Father says, constantly remember me alone. In the world, they continue to make one another unhappy. Here, we will tell you one thing in your ear. It is very easy. Alpha and Beta. Remember the Father and the kingdom. This is the meaning of Manmanabha. All the rest is detail. The Father is the benefactor. You children have to become benefactors. You children have to give a lot of proof of how many you benefited today. You have to go around everywhere in order to benefit others. You have to stumble around for the sake of establishing a religion. I am teaching you such a pilgrimage that you wouldn't have to go on another pilgrimage. Manmanabha, this is the pilgrimage. You really should go after the pilgrims. A very shrewd intellect is needed. Acha. To the sweetest, beloved, long lost and now found children, love, remembrance, and good morning from the mother, the father, Bap Dada. The spiritual father says, Namaste to the spiritual children, and the spiritual children say, Namaste to the spiritual father. Essence Vadharana. Points to practice for today. The way to become like a diamond is to have remembrance of the Father. By having remembrance of the Father, you will receive the sovereignty of heaven without spending as much as a shell. Therefore, constantly stay in remembrance of the one Father. Second point, it is better to ask, Baba says, it is better to die than to ask for anything. Second point, it is better to die than to ask for anything. You have received everything from the Father. Therefore, don't ask for anything. Become benevolent and show everyone the true path. Baba's blessing for today. May you be a yogi soul who experiments and thereby increase all your treasures by using them. Baba has given you children all the treasures to experiment with. To the extent that you experiment with them, to that extent you will progress. If you're not progressing, then you are not experimenting. Yoga means to experiment with things. So whatever the Father has made you a trustee of, your body, mind, wealth, or things, do not waste them by being careless, but use them and increase them tenfold. Be one who attains a lot with little expenditure. This is a sign of a yogi soul who experiments. Slogan: to renounce sinful actions and the vices is to have real renunciation. To renounce sinful actions and devices is to have real renunciation. So today Baba is emphasizing so much in remembering him and the inheritance and experimenting with this by using all the treasures he has given us. So let's make that special effort today. So let's stay in powerful remembrance of Shiv Baba. Do have a powerful day in Baba's remembrance. Om Shanti.